Well, hello and welcome to today's Boxing Day special episode of Need I Say Myrrh, the Christmas podcast. This is the very final episode of Series 2. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? I hope you've enjoyed coming along with us for that journey. Now, for today's episode, you're going to hear some stuff that didn't make it into the actual episodes. So for all of the conversations that I had with people, I recorded more stuff than we could use. I cut out a lot of stuff that just because it was really dull. And I mean, you've heard the actual episode, so you can just imagine what that was like. But also, there's some stuff that I cut out just because it didn't quite fit, or there wasn't enough time in the episode to fit it into the 15 minutes that I was aiming for. So I've included a few miscellaneous random selections of chat as a special Boxing Day treat for you, which I hope you'll enjoy. And we're going to start by hearing again from Ben Thorp up in Glasgow. One of the questions I asked Ben was, what is your favourite Christmas film? And you'll hear him giving an answer to that question, as well as making a suggestion for what the ultimate Christmas film would be.
Die Hard. I mean, it's
again, another controversial answer, isn't it? Is it a Christmas film or not? For the purposes of this podcast, we'll say it is a Christmas film. What do you think about my favourite Christmas film, A Muppet Christmas Carol?
It's a close second. I have to say, I love it. I have been campaigning online for a while for them to make a Muppets Die Hard. I think that would be the ultimate Christmas film. I think that sadly, obviously, Alan Rickman is no longer with us. Perhaps Michael Caine, if he was feeling up for it, could play the Alan Rickman role, Hans Gruber. And obviously Kermit in a white singlet would be fantastic in the John McClane role. So I think that would combine together to make what would be the best Christmas film.
And would you add songs into Die Hard if you had the Muppets doing it?
I think it would be good if they did. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think Die Hard could work well as a musical. So this is a general appeal then to any listeners who happen to work in the film industry and or are personal friends with Michael Caine or Kermit. If you could make that happen, that would be very pleasing. That would be a special treat for Ben. That's good. Well, we're going to head south for the next clip to London, to Matthew Weston. And Matthew, during the recording of his episode, decided to turn the tables a bit and ask me a question. And for reasons that I can't now remember, he asked me what my favourite sandwich fillings are. And that led to a surprisingly lengthy conversation about sandwiches. So here is our sandwich chat. Well, I don't know. And I'm not sure how I feel about you messing with the format of this podcast and starting to ask me questions. Favourite sandwich? See, if you're in like a setting where you can choose from a variety of sandwiches, then I normally lean towards things that have bacon in. I'm quite keen on bacon. So even just like a basic bacon sandwich, that's good. Chicken and bacon. There's also the bacon, lettuce, tomato. Other things you can have with bacon. Those kind of all-day breakfast ones, although I don't like the egg bits that they put in them, but sausage and bacon. So yeah, a bacony sandwich. I don't normally have them at home because it's an extra kind of hassle to do the whole cooking some bacon. So normally at home, like cheese is good, ham, chicken.
Particularly festive Christmas sandwich ingredients, i.e. kind of a turkey sandwich.
Yeah, so turkey sandwich is what we would have because we are a turkey household. In the sense we eat turkeys, we don't have any. And so a turkey sandwich is good, turkey and stuffing, yeah, that's good. I don't know how festive you could have in a sandwich. I suppose you could have like a pigs in blankets sandwich.
Pigs and blankets. Well, there's your bacon sandwich with added sausage. I mean, two brilliant ingredients in one. I am a fan of giant pigs in blankets, as in normal-sized sausages rather than chipolatas with like normal-sized bacon.
I think that's definitely a good way of doing pigs in blankets.
I think I should let you resume the questions, though.
No, it's fine. I'm happy with you exploring other avenues. It's good to chat about sandwiches, isn't it? What would your favourite sandwich be?
I mean, a bacon butty is an excellent thing. I went through a phase when Sainsbury's for some strange reason, were including their Taste the Difference sandwiches in their daily meal deal. Went through a phase of having ham hock, lettuce, and caramelized onion chutney.
Yep.
Those were supreme days where you could get that meal deal. And these are the days when the meal deal was only about £3. But long gone, those days are long gone.
I know things are not what they used to be, are they? Things have gone downhill a lot with Sainsbury's sandwiches. But yeah, the ham hock. It's the only context in which I've had ham hock is in Sainsbury's sandwiches.
I don't actually know what it means.
No,
I thought hock was a type of alcohol or something.
I don't know either. I'll have to look it up. Unless it's just a word that Sainsbury's invented because it sounds interesting. Ham hock.
Ad hoc, ham hock, post hoc.
Well, we're going to head west now to Reading and to Adsum Ravenhill. Like many of the other guests, Adsum spent some time talking about turkey, but we actually talked about turkey for longer than I included in the episode, and far longer than Adsum thought was necessary. So here's a bit of that extra turkey chat, exclusively for you. So you might have turkey at other times of the year, but you wouldn't have it as a special celebration.
I don't really eat much turkey at all. I kind of, you can have some turkey mince or something at some point, but generally speaking, I don't. Anyway, so, we're adding to the 5 minutes of boring, probably. So.
I always tell guests at the beginning, and I'm saying this just in case I decide to include this bit, that we record 20 minutes and count the 5 most boring bits, and I'm planning for this to be the really boring bit, but with the twist that I'm going to leave it in. So we have this bit of the podcast that's just us talking about turkey in a really dull way. What's the least interesting turkey you've ever eaten? Get in touch. We're going to go down to Cornwall now and to Mary Judkins. And Mary shared with us some of her Christmas decoration memories and also a Christmas tree related achievement from this year.
Well, we've always had a real Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gone in for, plastic or whatever. And we've got 2 grown-up adult children, and sometimes it was their ideas. And our daughter had been to the States. And in the States, they do popcorn and cranberries and all sorts. So she spent ages one year threading popcorn and cranberries onto this string thing to hang around the tree. It wasn't my favourite, but that's what she wanted. She was also into this sort of, we have to have a colour scheme. Okay. Whereas now we're on our own and we're retired, we throw anything on that we want to throw on, really. So if it fits, it fits.
Yep, that's our philosophy as well.
And we have a real tree this year again because we've tried over several years to put them out into the garden to see if they grow. But the only successful one was last year, and that's because we kept it in its pot. And it's still growing in its pot, and it's got new leaves, new branches, so we'll bring it inside again. That's our first success in 51 years.
Well, congratulations. That's something to celebrate, isn't it? So we join with you as the whole podcast listenership, celebrating your success with you. Well, we're going to head up north again now to Eddie Arthur. And one of the things that Eddie enjoys doing is running unnecessarily long distances. And here are some of his thoughts on Christmas running.
No, I will run at Christmas. One of the things I do is what's called a red December. That's run every day. Okay. So I'll run each day, but it won't be anything special. Just mile or 2, perhaps. I don't even know what day Christmas Eve is this year.
Tuesday.
So I'll probably do 4 or 5 miles on Christmas Eve, and then just an easy mile on Christmas Day.
Okay.
I'm training for a half marathon in the Cheviots in January, and that's basically a run straight up a mountain and a run straight back. So whatever I do will have to take into account that I'm going to be very silly in the middle of winter running up mountain.
But you get to run in some very, very beautiful landscapes where you are.
I do it. We are very, very fortunate where we live. Sitting in our lounge, we can see 2 of the Yorkshire Three Peaks Okay, they're 35 miles away, but we can't see
You
them.
can see them. Now we're going to hear some extra chat from the vicar's wife, Amanda Robbie, with some of her random reflections on being a vicar's wife at Christmas.
There's all sorts of things that you get involved in as a vicar's wife, you know, sort of prop making, creative ideas for the multiple carol services or whatever's going on. We had a season where we were inviting extra people to Christmas lunch, you know, various people we would sort of mop up from church. I think sort of keeping the ship on the road and sort of encouraging the preacher really has been my experience. Again, it's seasons, you know. I'm a bit of a refreshment queen actually, so chocolate cake for the school services, mince pies. We live in a very multicultural area, and quite often I'm saying, have a mince pie. It's vegetarian. It's not meat, because people haven't clocked that. So, and there's that. Yeah. I also have another good recipe, which is a non-alcoholic punch, like a mulled wine, which comes out every year with cranberry juice. Also on the blog.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I love Christmas hospitality, basically in church and at home, and trying to help Neil by welcoming people whilst he's running around getting the service going. Yeah
that's great. Yeah, definitely your love of hospitality is coming through in your provision of food and all these recipes. You need to make a festive recipe book, Amanda.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's possible. Yeah.
We're going to hear from Jonny Guy now. You may remember, or you may not, that Jonny in his episode said that he really doesn't like cold mince pies. If you're going to have a mince pie, it has to be warm. That prompted me to ask a few follow-up questions about mince pies. So here's some bonus mince pie chat exclusively for you. One other mince pie question I will ask you. I can ask you two, in fact. One is, what is your window for mince pie eating? That's always a big question, isn't it? So we're in the middle of November at the moment. Have you already had a warm mince pie?
Absolutely not.
Okay. When would you start? When would you have your first warm mince pie?
I'm slightly torn, because there's part of me that really wants to that really wants to go kind of full liturgical, no Christmas stuff until kind of Christmas Eve. Just kind of, you know, so that there's kind of a small part of me that maybe in another life was that kind of liturgically fussy and kind of purist. And so in reality, maybe the carols by candlelight service, I think for me, that's kind of when it starts to feel Christmassy, and I start to sort of, allow myself to really sort of get into the spirit. So yeah, I think that's around about 10 days or so before Christmas. So in reality, and that's the kind of compromise that I would allow. But yeah, before that would just feel a little bit wrong.
I've had multiple mince pies already.
That's non-conformist for you.
If I have cold ones, that's not so exciting. One other mince pie question is, in the last series of this podcast, Mark Broadway, an Anglican in Wales, introduced people to the concept of taking off the lid of the mince pie and putting blue cheese in it. Is that something that you have experimented with?
Yeah, no, I did listen to that episode. I've not tried that myself, so I will reserve judgment until and unless I try it. So it sounds like it shouldn't work, but he seems like a trustworthy guy. So
he does, yes.
Worth a try. And I guess if you get a pack of 6, then having one of those as sort of experimentation seems about fair enough. And if worse comes to worse, you've still got 5 left, haven't you? So maybe I'll try it this Christmas.
It's very good of you to reserve judgment until you've tried it, because a lot of listeners did not reserve judgment until they tried it, and he was quite strongly criticised. Now here's some extra festive chat from Rachel Campbell, and one of the things I asked her in the recording was about her experiences of spending a few Christmases in New Zealand. Here's what she said.
So yeah, we've spent 2 Christmases in New Zealand. So my husband, I wish it was more, maybe 1 year. So the first one, when our son was just 6 months old, I hadn't been to New Zealand at that point, although I was married to a New Zealander. I hadn't been there and hadn't met most of the family. So we went to New Zealand when he was 6 months old, and it was very, very different. We, as a family, we went to a very small New Zealand sort of wooden church, country church, on Christmas Day, where we always, we won the competition for how far people had come. We won that one. So we go there, and then usually spent the day with my sister-in-law, who has a small holding, and we would have crayfish that her husband had caught, and lamb that they'd reared. And we swam in the river on Christmas Day and in the sea on Boxing Day. So, very, very different, and very lovely. Very lovely. And, and then we spent a second Christmas there. We did a sabbatical. So we lived there for over 6 months when our middle daughter was a baby, and we did that Christmas there as well. And I just remember waiting till 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve before we could do carols by candlelight. And we did them outside the cathedral, on the steps of the cathedral in Nelson in New Zealand. And it was really quite wonderful to be doing that, as the lights went down eventually.
That sound lovely. And some people do swim in the sea on Boxing Day in this country, but I think you'd have to be much braver.
I don't. and what's lovely is there's a beach that we went swimming on, and it's Tahuna Nui on the South Island, and it's got what is called New Zealand Christmas trees lining it. So they are pahutakawas, and they come out in beautiful red blooms at Christmas. So it is really very pretty and very attractive. Yeah.
And finally, for today, a clip from James Brixey, where he shares a thought-provoking anecdote from his time working with international students.
You were asking about whether I liked Christmas, and I distinguished between cultural Christmas and the religious celebration. So we had a Bible study yesterday for our international students. 2 days ago. And we studied Matthew chapter 1, and I worked through the passage. I asked questions about what does it mean that Jesus is the son of David, the son of Abraham? Why is Matthew pointing to the exile? Why is Jesus have to be born a human and born of prophecy and born of Mary and all of these things? And then I got to a question where I asked, and so how does this Christmas narrative compare with our cultural celebration of Christmas? And one of the people in the study goes, wait, this is the Christmas story. We're doing this because it's Christmas. Is this what's going on here? And it sort of just clicked for them that actually this whole celebration with the lights and the festivities and the Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé being let out of their cages once a year. Michael Bublé is more than a Christmas musician, but most of our culture recognizes him just as that. And the fact that it hadn't clicked that we were looking at this passage because it was Christmas was, I thought, both quite amusing and also kind of a little bit touching that we have this, not touching, but somber, that we have this huge divide between what we do as a culture and what happened all of those years ago.
Well, that is now genuinely the end of Series 2. There'll be no more new episodes this series. So I hope that you have a very happy new year and see you in 2025.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.